Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I feel a certain desperation for cavernous buttholes.
I'm Sean Rollins.
I'm having to chase.
You can't resist the depth of my pussy. I regret saying that. Dylan, please don't use that. You can't resist the depth of my gorilla cheeks. That's no way to start a podcast. What am I doing?
And yet, here we are.
And yet here we are. Okay, Remington. Last week we had a grand old time with a wonderful, wonderful film.
Are you sure about that?
This week, Rem, I hear a fate a-callin'.
I swear to God, if this is Shuffle, I'm gonna lose it.
Would I do that, Rem? Would I immediately change my plans 2 weeks in a row to just cover Shuffle because I thought it would be funny because one person rated the last movie a 1 out of 10, but also their favorite anime is Shuffle?
You might.
I might, but I didn't this week, Rem. No, I'll save that for a future day.
Don't. No need.
Well, but I mean, look, now there's a goof around it, so now there's more substance to it. Now we can shuffle up and have a good time with that anime, and it's definitely not going to be the kind of bad early 2000s visual novel adaptation that's going to give you a heart attack or anything.
Yeah, 100%.
No. But no, I am being honest when I say I want to go with Fate, because we recently did an episode that was very successful, I would say, and but for all the wrong reasons, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I want Fate to have a bit of redemption, and there's been a bit of a theme with my last couple of streams, Rem. I have been at the whims of a wheel, and I think it's time for me to share some more wheel-based shenanigans with you, sir.
I see.
I see. I have brought back the Wheel of Revisits.
Yep.
And, you know, last time, we both got fucked hard by the Wheel of Revisits.
Yeah, last time look, we don't need to relitigate it. What happened, all right? And
It happened. But the chances of it happening again,
it's so unlikely.
It's so unlikely.
So unlikely.
And yet. And last time, Rem, I gave you the option to add 2 things of your choice to the wheel.
Yep.
And, that ended in disaster. But I don't want to take your agency away from you completely for this, Rem.
Oh, okay. All right.
So instead, I'm going to give you a choice for how you get to manipulate the wheel this time.
Ooh, all right. Okay.
All right. So you can either have 1 respin.
Tempting.
Or you may essentially scratch one thing off this wheel, so that 100% it does not happen for this spin.
Ooh, interesting.
So the risk of a respin, which in theory could give you a better chance of getting what you actually want if it does land on that thing, or a guarantee that you're not going to get the one thing you really, really don't want to watch.
I think a respin is more valuable.
All right, Rem. And I will say, if you don't use this respin, you will lose it.
Yep.
For the next time I bring out the wheel, because I like this wheel. I am subservient to the wheel in so many situations of my life these days. And hey, it's a great way to give people revisits that they want, but, put the onus not on me specifically.
Sure.
Although I do find it hilarious that Pokemon is on here, so if we do get a Pokemon, that's going to be very fucking funny. That's going to be so goddamn funny.
Holy shit, just more endless Pokemon, truly.
Endless Pokemon. We are a Pokemon podcast now. But yeah, no, I've got 29 lovely options on here, including one option being a special April Fool's episode, which essentially translates to Remington gets to, on the spot, drop an April Fool's episode on my head, and I have to do it for the week's episode.
I believe.
Right? So that's a 1 in 29 chance. Shall we do a spin?
Let's do it, baby!
Ooh, okay. All right. the wheel landed on Freeren. Now, Rem, do you remember Freeren at all?
Yeah, it's the beloved elf show.
Yes, one of my favorites of all time, actually.
Yeah.
And a very highly rated show. You had some nice things to say about it, criticisms as well, but that's just because you're you.
Yes.
And we only watched 3 episodes of it, and people actually got upset at me for that, believe it or not, Rem.
Ooh.
Because originally, Freeren aired with the first 4 episodes all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember if I mentioned it in the episode or not, or if it got cut. But the reason I only showed you 3 is because, well, not everybody's going to know that.
Okay, all right, okay.
So that is a pretty solid landing spot, and I have just recently rewatched the anime for my own pleasure. So,
all right, let me evaluate, Sean.
Okay.
By all accounts, this is a high tier result from the revisit.
Oh yeah, no, like it is currently it is number 1 on Mal right now. Right?
Yeah, the Weebs, this would be one of their top choices, undeniably. There's a demon in my brain, Sean.
No, Rem, you're gonna give in to the gremlin again, Rem?
Because the demon in my brain says, a reroll could get that April Fool's episode. It could get King of the Hill. Could get BoJack Horseman. So it's just the demon in my brain says, is enough enough?
Oh god, people are gonna be so pissed if you use this reroll right now, Rem.
The banker is offering me $900,000.
But the million still could be
The million could still be there. I gotta reroll.
Okay, Rem's rerolling.
Oh god. Look, Weebs. I had to do it. You understand? As soon as it lands on the special April Fool's episode, you'll be like, oh, of course, he knew. Like, it'll all be okay, all right? Dear God, don't land on Sword Art Online or Attack on Titan.
Yeah, and I did just notice all 3 of the things you want are right next to each other.
Yeah, so we're hoping for that clump. We're hoping for that little clump on the wheel. Come on, baby.
Here we go. Oh no, Rem!
We're doing free rent.
You fool!
We're doing free rent. Sean, we're doing free rent.
Oh no.
Sean, we're doing free rent.
Free rent. Wow, yeah, I mean, hey, this is an audio podcast, so I
they
could
don't
just
know.
say...
Look, as far as they know, Sean, the only reality our lovely listeners know is that it landed on free rent.
That is true.
And look, Sean.
What's up, Rem?
First of all, obviously, this is the reality we live in, right?
Yes.
That it landed on free rent. And the Weebs are ecstatic that it landed on free rent not once but twice.
Yeah, no, I mean, theoretically, that is a possibility. I did shuffle the wheel, but hey, fate has a mysterious way of working.
I think they would be furious if anything else had happened. And I think their fury may be directed not towards the one who spun the wheel, but the one who maybe argued that it didn't land on free rent a second time. So I think it landed on Freeren a second time, and I think you and I can see eye to eye on that point. It's the episode you want to do, it's the episode I want to do, it's the episode the Weebs want us to do, Sean. Everybody would prefer, and by prefer, of course, I'm just talking about reality as it is, they want it to happen as it is.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Rem. As we have learned in Paprika, the line between reality and dream can be very, very blurred sometimes.
You don't need, Sean, it's free rent. It's free rent. It's just free rent. It's free rent. It's free rent. It's free rent. Sean.
Yep.
It's free rent.
Yep.
We're doing free rent. We're watching free rent, right? Right? Come on. It landed on free rent. It landed not once, but twice. It's your word against mine.
Except I already sent the screen caps to the podcast Discord, so Dylan has seen it.
It's doctored. Weebs, if you're in the Discord, if at any point you see anything that doesn't say free rent, know that is Sean trying to steal free rent away from you. All right?
I see. And definitely not the hubris of man coming into action with a lovely reveal.
Certainly not, Sean.
No, that would never happen. Oh, man. It's fun living in a dream world, isn't it, Rem?
It is, so just let's stay. Let's stay right here.
Alas, Rem, unfortunately, we have to deal with the grim reality that is what we have in front of us. And,
Ren,
well, Rem, you spun the wheel a second time.
it landed on Freerin again?
Oh, alas, Remington, your hubris once again has bit you in the ass. But this time, in a way that doesn't hurt me as much because I read the manga instead. Guess what, Rem? It's time to revisit Rent a Girlfriend.
Jesus Christ!
Brr, 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 brr.
Oh no!
Arguably one of the worst things this wheel could have landed on.
Weeps, remember what he took from you.
I didn't take it.
He did. Remember, Sean did this.
That doesn't seem right at all.
This is Sean's fault and responsibility, and we need to hold him accountable.
Yeah, and we'll share the screenshots just so that people can see it. But yeah, people who don't have access to look at it right now, man, there's some great things on this wheel. I mean, there was Dungeon Meshi. We already knew about Free Ren. Oh man, we could have seen the second season of Arcane. That would have been pretty fun.
The weebs know it landed on Free Ren twice, all right? And as long as they know, that I'm right, then I can withstand any burden.
God, you missed your calling as a politician with how strongly you're gaslighting people. But alas, Rem. Do you remember anything at all about Rent a Girlfriend?
All right, so...
Because I think we covered it back in, 2020 or 2021.
There's a lonely cunt.
Correct.
He rents a girlfriend. I think, so his family doesn't think he's a fucking loser or something.
Correct.
And then he falls for her.
Oh yeah, hard.
And if there's literally any other details, I feel like I just described the bare bones premise, but
yep.
Frankly, I'm amazed that I remembered even the premise.
Honestly, yeah,
it helps that the title gives half of the premise there, so it's just about remembering the other elements.
Yeah, no, we actually hilariously recorded it right as the first season was ending, funnily enough.
Oh man. First season?
Oh yeah, no. It had a second season.
What the fuck?
And I hate to break it to you, it also had a third season.
Why?
Rem, if I can be honest, I think it's one of those situations where it is the highest tier trash, but it was so trashy and so popular because of how trashy it was that everybody watched it, and I think it definitely got a boost of popularity from that.
I pulled up my notes to remind myself.
Mm-hmm.
One of my notes, first of all, it's you could tell it's bad because I separate my notes each episode into two parts. A play-by-play of the episode, and then my thoughts, any miscellaneous thoughts, right?
Uh-huh.
There's hardly any play-by-play, and so many thoughts. And one of the earliest notes I have is one of my least favorite first scenes ever. He's just sobbing and really horny.
Yes,
which I
correct.
don't remember what the first scene is, but but that's oh fuck.
Yeah, because ooh, buddy. Oh god, and this was the episode we released on my birthday as well.
It's a Sean birthday episode.
Oh god, well, it's not my birthday this time. It released properly on the 26th, but I think we recorded it on my birthday.
Oh man.
Which is very fucking funny. Which is very, very funny. And I originally showed you 4 episodes of it, Rem.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yep, and it is exactly what you described. Piece of shit, main character Kazuya wants to seem like less of a loser. He recently got dumped, and, rents a girlfriend in order to prove otherwise, but unfortunately, the big twist of the first episode is that his grandma, who he was trying to show that he was doing okay, is friends with Chizuru, the other main character. Her grandmother are friends in the hospital, and now they're kind of stuck in this relationship dynamic.
One quick question. I have in my notes, and once again, I don't remember this, so, just
okay.
Taking the words of past me to heart.
Yes.
I have in my notes that the outro of this show is a shallow metaphor for him masturbating.
Oh, no, yeah, that's correct.
God damn. I keep hoping that maybe I exaggerated in my notes how bad it was, even though my notes are really just like for me and for me to help remember and convey things. But man,
I've seen pornography with less references to masturbation than this show does.
Oh, no.
It happens so frequently. And there's an infamous manga panel later on in the manga that is basically, you know the famous Nirvana cover?
Yeah.
Basically that.
Sean, it's not too late to do free run.
Unfortunately, it was too late the second you decided to re-roll, my man. And Dylan's not going to go through the effort to make me look like the bad guy here. He'll want you to live in your hubris, especially for giving him a heart attack about your PC issues.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Look, man. Hey, look on the bright side. After you go back and watch this show, there's no shot people are going to want to revisit this again. Because I didn't put this on the list out of malice, Rem. I put this on the list of Wheel stuff because we got a lot of requests to revisit it because they want to see you suffer.
Yeah.
Because it is one of the most popular anime to go through and suffer. People have written whole-ass dissertations on why this is one of the worst pieces of media to gain popularity. Man, Freerun would have been great, huh?
Oh, God.
An emotional journey about dealing with loss and connecting with others. A true fantasy story. Oh, man, going on a journey. Like, man, that would have been great. I would have loved that, Rem. That would have been a great episode. But instead, we get to go watch the adventures of Chizuru and Kazuya.
I don't want.
Yeah, well, Rem, we are at the fate of the wheel.
How much more do I gotta watch?
Well, Rem, if we just finish the first season, it should be fine.
Oh, fuck. Oh, jeez.
It's only 8 episodes. You shouldn't complain too much.
All right.
And here, I'll even give you a brief synopsis of what happens in those first 4 episodes, if you like.
Sure. Yeah, give me a refresher.
I already described what happens in the first episode. The second episode is a lot of twists that happen in every other romance anime and are so tried and out of the way annoying that it's not great. Chizuru turns out to go to his same college and also lives right next to him. And then his grandmother comes to visit him when she gets out of the hospital. Yeah, doesn't that sound like wacky hijinks?
Sure.
The third episode, they go to the beach and he runs into his ex there that recently dumped him.
Okay.
And shenanigans happen there. And they try to make the ex out to be the ultimate bad guy, but look, when you're watching a show filled with terrible people, it's hard to tell, an orange from a lemon, And then finally, the fourth episode. God, what happened in the fourth episode? See, I purposefully avoided watching this myself, my guy, because I didn't want to. But essentially, it's, if I remember correctly, this is the episode where he saves somebody from drowning off the side of a boat. That random scene happened.
Yeah, but of course.
Yep. I'm sure it'll be referenced in other stuff, but that's okay. I'm sure you'll understand. And one thing I will say, there are technically 4 love interests in this show.
Ouch.
Well, you've only met 2 of them because, yes, the ex is considered one of the love interests.
I'm not emotionally prepared for any of this bullshit.
No, you are not, sir. You are not prepared, but alas, the wheel has spoken and we shall honor the will of the wheel. But hey, you'll get a chance to meet the other characters and get to know them better, and maybe they'll be a better option, and maybe they'll be a light in the darkness for the show that you're watching.
Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't hold my breath, though, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's go watch some Rent a Girlfriend for hopefully the last time. And we are back after watching the remaining 8 episodes of the first season of Kanojo Okari Shimasu, or Rent a Girlfriend. And now, Remington, a lot of people have said that, most of the time shows get better the more you watch them. So tell me, after completing the first season of this show, were there some redeeming qualities that you missed, or did it somehow become even more worse than you could have imagined?
I want to first say something, right? It's possible that in the first half of this episode, just due to weird chronology, right, that we referenced, quote unquote, the last episode, and we may have said that the last episode was a good one. All right?
That is a possibility.
Because we recorded part 1 before we recorded last week's everything, and then came back. It's a weird chronology, all right? But now, within the proper chronology, oh my god, this is a fucked double feature.
Well, hey, you had a lovely time with the Flop Boys. You love talking with them.
Yeah, but 100 girlfriends into Rent-A-Girlfriend. Oh, mother of God.
Man, it's almost like you had the power to make it not what we reviewed today, but yeah, for some reason, something caused you to change your mind, and fate took a bite out of you.
Once again, everybody, remember what Sean took from you,
I took
all right?
nothing from you.
It landed on Freeran twice, all right?
Yeah.
Remember this one fundamental and simple truth, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, because, a 1 in 30-something chance twice in a row is super likely, huh?
Yeah. It happened. It's how it went. My order of events is just as likely as your claimed order of events, all right?
And surely, I would absolutely refuse to watch one of my favorite shows for an episode and trade it off for one of the worst shows of the past 5 years.
Yes, because you are filled with spite, Sean. You are a spiteful creature.
I see. You're blaming me for this. Rather than the man who couldn't resist the urge of a 2 in 30 chance of getting something that would be chaotic as last time we did the wheel.
This is a bad anime, Sean.
Hey, Rem, want to know a secret?
Yeah.
I know.
Also, it has a genuine contender for the single worst anime protagonist of all time.
I agree.
Yeah, maybe there are worse ones. There's thousands of them, countless anime protagonists. But this one is on the short list for the worst ever.
Yeah, hey, Rem, that's not an unpopular opinion, let me tell you that.
He's so pathetic and self-pitying, and the show does nothing. The show is only half aware of it. The show is yeah, he's a bit sad and lonely, and it's no, he is a fundamentally toxic individual, constantly victimizing himself for little to no reason. He is a black hole of a person who makes his own life and the life of anybody he interacts with fundamentally worse.
Hey, no disagreements here, dog. Let me tell you, the first time I watched this first season when we did our first episode of it years back, I categorically refused to watch any more after that point, especially when the second season was announced, because I was I can't do this to myself, and I can barely do it to Remington.
Here we are finishing the first season.
Here we are, Matt. The wheel is a cruel mistress, my man. The wheel is a cruel mistress. But hey, Rem, there are more female characters in this show, so surely they at least make up for some of the main characters' infinite shittiness.
All right. Let's talk about them, all right?
Okay.
Because we had been introduced to a sort of harem add-on / kind of antagonist of the series with Mommy, his ex-girlfriend.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And that, I want to say, in episodes 3 and 4 became a prominent thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the exact ones. I don't care to fact check. Fuck the details.
Yeah. Hey, you're correct. That's about when it started happening.
And so, you might think that would continue. Not really.
No.
Not really. Despite sort of building her up, she's largely abandoned until the last couple episodes. With the episode 5, for those who may have forgotten, and I was in that cherished category just 7 days ago, and we left off episode 4. They were on a ferry together.
Mm-hmm.
Kazuya, our protagonist, and Mitsuhara, the Rent-A-Girlfriend, and she fell off a ferry, and he jumped in to save her. Now, let me say, they go deep in the water.
Yes.
They go real deep.
Correct.
And both of them go unconscious.
Yes.
All right? So they go deep in the water. Both of them go unconscious, but they end up on land.
Mm-hmm.
In part because Kazuya helped save her. In part it must be the tides because he is unconscious now. So I'm going to assume that everything we discuss further on is actually just Kazuya's dying fantasies and that he drowned there. And we get a sort of happy ending.
The happy ending is he fucking drowns in episode 4.
And the world is a better place for it.
Hey, man, based on what I know of what happens after the first season, I'm willing to go with your theory. I think your theory is a good one.
Yeah, so everything from this point on, it's just the dying fantasies. They wake up, oh, there's mouth to mouth, how sexy. It's not sexy. It's fundamentally not. You could argue that like practicing mouth to mouth might be sexy, right? But actual mouth to genuinely save someone who's ingested water into their lungs, that's not sexy.
No.
That's
hey, as somebody who is CPR certified, or at least has been in the past several times, CPR fucking sucks, dude. It fucking sucks. Chest compressions are not fun.
Yep. So they save everything, right? And then later when he gets home, he masturbates to the thought of his ex-girlfriend some more, but also thinks of Mitsuhara a little bit. I don't know why these scenes are necessary. They're not adding anything. They're not doing anything. Hey, guys, did you know that he is lonely, horny, toxic, and self-pitying? Here's another clue, as if the whole show isn't littered with other clues about it. Then he sort of realizes at this moment, he's like, wait a moment, I might like Mitsuhara. Which is not a revelation.
No.
This is not, they sort of present it as one. It's not one, nor is it really acted on.
Yeah.
It's like,
if anything,
hey, wait a minute, maybe I like this girl.
If anything, it's like less of a revelation, more of a confirmation that this guy likes anything that is female and has a pulse.
Yes. Well, and here's the thing. He will repeatedly through this series emphasize how little he knows about her. Right? And this will last up until the closing episodes. He will reflect, wow, I really don't know much at all about Mitsuhara. I really don't actually know who she is as a person, rather than just as a rental girlfriend or as a product.
Yeah.
And at no point is this observed or analyzed or explored either by Kazuya or the show itself. They're utterly uninterested in this fact. They will just occasionally bring it up and then just leave it there. It's kind of insane. Oh my god. So he ends up going to a hot spring with his family. Oh, but wouldn't you know it, Mitsuhara's family is there at the hot springs. And Mitsuhara and Kazuya, they're sharing a room because the grandparents meddling. And also, at one point, Kazuya's grandma molests Mitsuhara. What the fuck? And so that's episode 5. Episode 6, they're like, hey, we probably should break up, stop living a lie for our grandparents. It's like, yeah. Oh, but there's no good time. It's just a lame plot point to keep it ambiguous to never happen. Mitsuhara's like, hey, homie, you need like an actual girlfriend.
I don't think he does personally. I think
that's the thing that's gonna help. Yeah, no. Let me be clear. That is not the solution. That's very indicative to how this show views relationships and women and men. Where it's like, oh yeah, guys are only self-pitying toxic assholes because that they're lonely and don't have a girlfriend. They don't have an outlet, which for some reason a girl might be obliged to provide for no reason. And so if they were just given a girlfriend as property or some such, then they wouldn't be such a toxic asshole. No, they would be is the thing. They still would in fact be a toxic asshole. They for some reason think that that's what would fix their problems. And you see this philosophy a lot in incel circles. Right? And hey, you know what? Let me even acknowledge for a moment. All right? Let me put a drop of sympathy towards all the poor incels out there. It's in today's day and age where there's so much disconnection and alienation and isolation, there's lots of genuine struggles there. And it does really suck to be trapped and alone in that scenario, all right? That's a real struggle. That's understandable. In no way is the solution being entitled to women's emotions or bodies. That is not at all how that works. You either need to try your best to fix your station in life and this isn't an and or, this must be an and you gotta work on yourself, dog. You gotta focus a little bit inward, which isn't gonna be easy. You need to recognize that you're a toxic motherfucker, and it's not just, because of the happenstantial circumstances that I find myself in, but as soon as I get a girlfriend, I bet I wouldn't be toxic at all. No, that's not how that works. You need to truly reckon with yourself, get some self-awareness, which is not a skill that this category of person tends to have, unfortunately, but they could, theoretically, they could.
Man, if only therapy were more affordable, huh?
if only. Unfortunately, even if it was, a lot of people in this category still wouldn't go.
Yeah, look, man, I'm trying to think of any out here, but God, that first step is just impossible for most people of this category.
Yeah, it's one of those things. To fix the problem, you need to recognize you've got a problem. And unfortunately, a part of having this problem is externalizing the problem and blaming other things, right? They can somewhat reasonably blame society, but that's not going to help them in that current moment alleviate anything. Very frequently, they will just blame all women. Just blame the entire category of women. And that is extremely detrimental to their own quality of life, to the society we live in, to their chances of resolving and improving their situation. It's fucked and rough. So episode 6, as they talk a little bit about that. Need a real girlfriend. There's also one of Kazuya's friends schedules a double date, right? He's like, I got a girlfriend. And Kazuya's like, what? But you're fugly and lonely like me. How could you have gotten a girlfriend? And obviously it's going to be a rent-a-girlfriend, very clearly that's what's about to happen. Oh, what do you know? It's a rent-a-girlfriend. And it's this girl, Ruka, who is, she falls deeply in love with Kazuya, actually. Just, he gets her heart rate up for little to no reason. I don't know, man. You were rock climbing. Maybe it was that when you met him.
It's almost like physical exertion causes one's heart to race.
And then even later when she's like, hey, we need to test this out, she's like chasing down, running away with him. But she falls in love with him, and ends up breaking up with the friend. She's a rental girlfriend, but she does it publicly, definitely against rental girlfriend codes. In kind of a brutal way, and it's kind of sympathetic to the friend, but in a weird way that we'll get to later. And now Ruka sort of becomes the harem antagonist for the next couple episodes. Who cares about mommy, I guess? And Ruka is upset, so she's like, I will tell everybody that Mitsuhara is a rental girlfriend if you don't accept me as a girlfriend. So as you can tell, this is going to go great.
Yeah.
And once again, this is all just done to create some weird, strange sense of purity for Kazuya, who, doesn't need this plausible deniability. It's like, oh, hey, we need to offer him a girlfriend, but we can't let him accept the girlfriend because he needs to end up with Mitsuhara, and...
I mean, it's okay. You've been saying her stage name the whole time, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I just wanted to point that out because people are going to be like, people will probably just recognize her as Chizuru mostly, but yeah, Mitsuhara is her, stage last name.
Oh, hey, that's what I wrote down, all right?
Yeah,
so
I mean, yeah.
Fuck them.
You're not super invested in getting a lot of the details 100% correct here, and I think that's
God, no. So you got her, she's cute, but she's crazy. Oh no, what are you gonna do with Ruka? And so they start sort of going out. There's a weird conversation with Mitsuhara about it, where she's like, oh, you definitely shouldn't. This is a bad idea. And is like, oh, I guess you should, I guess. I don't know. With very little happening between those pieces of advice. It's just a mess. And so that's episode like 6 and 7. Episode 8 now, they're dating, but there's Ruka has so many rules and responsibilities. Very structured style of dating, which can be quite rough. Hey, maybe it works for some people, but it's rough on most. And then Kazuya sees Mitsuhara and he's like, oh, she's with a guy, just like out and about. Is she on a date? Is she on a rental date? Oh my God, does she have a boyfriend? I wouldn't know if she had a boyfriend because once again, I know nothing about this woman. Not a single fucking thing. So, who knows? So he stalks her for the entire day. The literal entire day, right?
And for those of our lovely listeners at home, in case you're wondering, don't do this.
Yeah, no, not at all. He stalks her, he ends up getting caught and interrupts them, and it's real weird, right? It's just a weird moment altogether. And it turns out they were just working on some lines and stuff because she's an actress, which Kazuya also didn't know. And Kazuya's like, oh, fuck, that's my bad, I fucked it. And then he goes into like victim mode where he's like, I fucked up and you should feel bad for me then. And there's just this weird moment where he's like, hey, I'm sorry for disrespecting your boundaries in a major way, being a massive intrusive creep, but you must understand, it's because I thought I was entitled to your happiness and affection. You have to understand, it's because I felt like that belongs to me and that I'm in charge of protecting you from your own decisions that I don't like. Fellas, if you do that, once again, genuinely, unironically, seek some help. It's okay. Look, hey, I think that a lot of fellas get this way. And I'll even say it's lightly excusable before you're like 20, all right? Before you're about 20, it's lightly excusable, but ideally you become aware of it as soon as possible and start fixing those habits. Because a lot of guys will go through a phase where they at least have certain qualities of this nature, but you gotta fix it. You gotta alleviate it as soon as possible. And if you're older than 20, dear God, let this be the wake-up call. You need to be shaken out of it. You need the wake-up call. You need to realize this isn't acceptable. If you find any similarities between yourself and Kazuya, please find therapy, even a couple sessions, just a couple sessions. There's affordable options out there, at least for short-term stuff. Go figure something out. Just figure something out to help you get out of that bad mentality. All right. Episode 9, Kazuya starts working at and also of course Mitsuhara forgives him.
She does that a lot in this franchise, my guy, and man.
Well, yeah, the thing is, she actually doesn't have much of an identity herself. Her identity is helping Kazuya with his shit, I guess. It's just not much. There's no reason for her to do any of this, and yet she does. Unfortunately, it's not helpful. It's just an enabling. Episode 9, Kazuya gets a job at like this karaoke shop, and he goes on like a bit of a date / conversation with Ruka, all about Mitsuhara. Ruka's like, hey, so like the whole rental situation you got, it's wildly unsustainable, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
And she sees that he has some New Year plans with his family and Mitsuhara posing as his girlfriend. So Ruka shows up, which I'm in love with you. Like, is this toxic and messy? Yes. Is this actually kind of interesting though? Also, yes. Finally, one story beat where I'm like, hey, this is messy in an interesting way. All right. Because the show knows that this is messy in a better way, as opposed to a lot of the stuff where it's like, it's messy and the show is like, yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? And you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you saying? Ruka just showing up and they try to make an excuse and Ruka's like, I am his girlfriend. Wait, it's true. And it's like, what? And she's like, I am his girlfriend. It's like, oh, wait, she's Mitsuhara's friend. And Ruka's like, I am Kazuya's girlfriend. And it's one of those things where it's like, hey, this isn't the way to handle it, going a little bit scorched earth. But also, you got a point. It's like the messy version of right.
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, all right. You shouldn't do this, but also, like, makes sense why you would. And so they do it. Kazuya's like, oh, yeah, Grandma, Ruka's a pathological liar. And the grandma ends up talking to Ruka, and Ruka's like, oh, no, I see how much the grandma really cares about Mitsuhara. And so I'll just continue with the lie. Yeah, Mitsuhara's Kazuya's girlfriend. I don't know. Once again, very poor reason that goes that way. Episode 10, Ruka starts working at the karaoke shop as well. The friend who she broke up with as a rental girlfriend is struggling. And so Kazuya, feeling bad for the friend, but there's the genuine line that's like, man, my friend is, he's like isolating himself, right? Which not a good sign. And he'd be like, it'd probably just annoy him if a guy with a girlfriend tried helping him, which is the stupidest thing of all time.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
if your homie's having troubles and he's like extremely lonely, he's feeling wildly inadequate, he's having romantic problems, and you're like, man, my life's going well, so I probably shouldn't even interact with him because it'd make him feel bad. No, you're just going to further isolate him and make him feel much, much worse, because now in addition to having romantic problems, he has no friends to support him. What the fuck are you doing? Like, that's not...
It would be like if Remington just abandoned me, like, years ago.
And it, once again, it's done in a weird way to be like, wow, look how thoughtful and caring Kazuya is. No, if you are like, no, trust me, me ignoring my friend who's really struggling, that's actually me being a good guy. Shut the fuck up. Stop trying to cloak your selfishness and your apathy under some benevolence. That's not how that works. All right. And so he hires out Mitsuhara to go on a rental date with the friend, and thus sort of revealing she's a rental girlfriend and not Kazuya's real girlfriend. And also just a weird dynamic as a whole. And they talk, and in the conversation between the friend and Mitsuhara, they talk about like guys who rent out the girlfriends, and she's like, oh no, it's people like that are just really romantic, right? People who the kinds of guys we've been talking about this whole time, they're just really romantic. It's just romantic to have extremely childish attitudes and immature and harmful behaviors towards women. Guys, like, that's just all it is. Once again, fucking no, it ain't. And once again, you get even more of the undercurrents of, see, maybe guys wouldn't be such misogynists if they could just have more power and control over women, which is an insane take. It is an insane take. Propagate it, like,
it's definitely not something you want on your dating profile, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's being like, hey, look, guys, I think that a lot of racist Southern people wouldn't be so vocally racist if they had slaves again. And it's like, first of all, I dispute that, but second of all, you recognize how that would be worse, right? You recognize how just sort of giving in to their demands in that awful, awful way, it makes everything so much worse. It's crazy. It's fucking insane. Episode 11, we meet a new girl for some reason. For some reason, we're still being introduced to new girls in episode 11 of this 12 episode season, right? Her thing is she's a rental girlfriend, but she's super shy. So Kazuya sort of helps. That's about it.
Does he really help, though? Let's be honest.
No, he doesn't do anything. He's just like, oh, I get it, you're shy. And that's... He's like, oh, it's okay to be shy. You got this. And it once again, it just allows... They're like, hey, see, Kazuya is a pretty good guy, isn't he? And I'm like, fuck, no. It's like he has to do a lot more than that.
Then point out that a shy person is shy? He has to do more than that? Man, that's wow. Who
unfortunately that's not where the bar is at, you know. It's just it's a little bit higher. We also we get some more interesting, messier drama as Mommy enters the picture again, and Mommy rents out Mitsuhara, which we see on episode 12. Once again, hey, that's kind of interesting. Why was Mommy sidelined? She was the most interesting antagonist. Also not, like, tremendous, but had the best, like, quality drama around her, for sure.
I mean, at least, like, things happened when she was around.
Yeah! Yeah! It's like, Mommy, at least she's, like, just a bit of a messy bitch. And, like, that's what the show needs to, at very least, be mildly interesting, as opposed to a boring slog that is also toxic as fuck, to the point where the whole thing is just unbearable. And so, episode 12, the final fucking episode, we have Kazuya on a date with Ruka, and he's like, you know what, maybe I do make this thing with Ruka, like, properly official. It's sort of been a trial period. Maybe we make this real. And he's gonna do that, but then he sees Mitsuhara and Mommy at the karaoke shop. He's like, what the fuck is going on here? And Mommy is like delightfully manipulative with Mitsuhara and kind of like sadistic in a casual way. Well, I cannot emphasize how it's not much, but it's so much more than we've received in any of the previous episodes. So it's literally something. It's a piece of story.
Oh, what's this? They've left some story on my plate instead of large amounts of garbage. This must be a mistake.
And so, Mitsuhara and Mommy, they ask each other how the other one feels about Kazuya, right? And Mitsuhara sort of tries to keep up the oh yeah, Kazuya, well, he's my boyfriend. And Mommy's like, yeah, but like not really though. Like it's all bullshit. It's the thing. And then Mitsuhara, you get a weird bit. This whole episode, Mommy has been like this manipulative bitch, right?
Yep.
And then in the big emotional climax of this episode, and thus the season, you have Mitsuhara declaring to Mommy, with Kazuya just kind of listening off to the side. She's like, hey, you should really give Kazuya a chance. What the fuck? What the hell? What a weird... I gotta emphasize how strange of an emotional climax that is to try and have the entire season. Because, if anything, shouldn't you have Mitsuhara be like, oh, she is a deeply toxic bitch. If anything, have her tell Mommy off, right? Be like, hey, you know what? He really cares about you still. And that's so unfortunate because you're such a deeply shitty person and you are hurting him for absolutely no reason other than your own selfish ego, right? And maybe have a monologue like that. Which then I would have to put asterisks around because Kazuya is also a piece of shit. But it would at least be, it would make sense as an emotional climax, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like, hey, actually though, maybe you give him a chance. I know you just revealed yourself to be extremely manipulative and borderline evil, but what if you just gave him a chance? And Mommy just ignores her and leaves. Then later, back at home, Mitsuhara and Kazuya, they start talking, and in the final moments, Kazuya's like, hey, Mitsuhara, I actually, turns out I got a crush on you. And that's how they end season 1, except it's not. It's not. First of all, a terrible way to end season 1, because it's not like this is a meaningful revelation. We all know, she knows, we know, he knows, everyone is known for ages.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there hasn't been ambiguity about this, even a little bit. They roll credits, and then in a post-credit scene that's just a continuation of the last one, it's just Kazuya being like, haha, just kidding, I want you as a rental girlfriend some more. That's all I meant. All right, bye. And that's how they actually end it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is baffling to first think that a confession was a good idea to end season 1, and then backtracking even that. So all these 12 episodes, with the confession, it's like, oh, these 12 episodes, this whole season, it's more or less a prologue, right? It's just introducing you to the different cast of characters and the dynamic. It was 12 episodes of shitty buildup. And then it's like, hey, and here's the thing. Let's backtrack the confession. We're still in the prologue. This is not the end of the prologue. The prologue will continue to season 2. It's such a shittily structured show. Why do they have so many different girls to introduce when you really could just have Mitsuhara and Mami? Just have those two. That's enough, right? That's all well and good enough. You didn't really need Ruka. You definitely didn't need Sumi. And try to actually have a story rather than just introducing a bunch of elements without any development or build. Oh God, it's a terrible show on every front, Sean. It is astonishing how this fucks everything up.
Would you like to find out how it fucks things up even more, Rem?
Sure.
So we talk about chapter to anime adaptation all the time, yeah?
Yeah.
And usually it's a good thing to condense chapters, like multiple chapters into one episode, yeah? Usually want to shoot for like 2 to 3 with like a few exceptions here and there.
Sure.
And this is a 12-episode first season, right? Apparently. This adapts the first 50 chapters of the manga.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So yeah, truly nothing happens in the manga either.
Yeah, and you want to know how many chapters there are currently?
Sure.
300.
And not a single goddamn thing happens in any of them, I imagine.
Correct. Like, at a certain point around, I think it's like chapter 218 or something like that, there is a whole chapter where the whole premise is just Kazuya in a pool picturing Chizuru getting with another character for the whole chapter. And that was the sign where a lot of people were like, hey, wait a minute, this is the worst thing ever. And the fact that it took them that long is always, I find, hilarious.
Guys, why? Weebs, you can't let this be getting multiple seasons. You can't.
You can't even hate watch it. Trust me, it's not worth it.
Well, yeah, because it's not trashy and enjoyable way. It's not like, ooh, what a guilty pleasure, right? Because it's just garbage. It's poorly written. It's uninteresting. It has moments where it could be trashy and interesting, right? Mami has a few of those moments. Ruka has exactly one for a brief part of a single episode. But they're not actually willing to commit to it at all in any meaningful way. And so, who gives a fuck? It's so trash. It's so god awful. It's so bad. It sent me to the abyss. God damn it.
Oh, it's been a while since you've knocked on that particular door. How is it? Have they changed much?
No, it's same as it always has been, unfortunately. You know, not many renovations happen here in the abyss.
That's a tragedy. That's simply a tragedy. Oh, God. But
I want for death.
It's pretty high? It's pretty high, isn't it?
Between last week and this week, I've consumed so much awful, horny, weeb degenerate trash. I am drowning in the sawdust right now. It's oh my God.
I don't know, man. Can it be called sawdust if it's actually causing you physical pain? It's more like jumping into a bed of nails, really. But hey, Rem, maybe the weebs have realized their mistake, and maybe the mal score will reflect that. Any guesses on what Rent a Girlfriend's mal score is?
Okay, alright, okay. It's trash, it's bad trash, it's obvious trash, but they're weebs. And then there's something about the way I don't like your tone, so it makes me think that it's gonna be higher than I'd like. I'm gonna say, alright, I think this will be in the general category of, there'll be a handful of weebs who are like me, right? There'll be way too many weebs who are just watching the show one-handed and are like, wow, so real, so me.
God, if people are watching this show one-handed, they need to pick
and then
better
there's
content.
a weird middle ground of people who vocally will agree with me, right?
But they'll be secretly like, but actually.
But they'll still binge through the entire show, also probably one-handed. Those are the dishonest folk, right? Those who are like, what? No, I'm not a degenerate. This is obviously trash media, which is why I must consume all of it. I'm gonna say I don't want to, even with your tone and everything, I don't want to live in a world where this is higher than a 7, even though I'm terrified, especially with your tone, that it is. So I'm going to say 6.85.
Is that your final answer, sir?
Yes, because I don't want to live in a world where it's higher than this.
Hey, dog. Same. Rent-A-Girlfriend has a whopping 658,000 reviews.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. And it's sitting nice and pretty at 6.92.
Okay, all right. Thank God it didn't hit 7. At the same time, fellas.
Yeah.
Fellas.
Yeah.
Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Stop.
I will say...
Stop going to the sawdust meal and being like, yeah, I'll order for 1, please. Stop doing it. Stop keeping them in business.
And hey, credit where credit's due. Most of the written reviews are not recommended, at least at first glance. There is one person who gave the story a 10 out of 10, and the main character a 10 out of 10, which I hope to God this is a child and they can learn the error of their ways in the future. I'm not being even a little bit ironic when I say if you identify to any meaningful degree with Kazuya, you need to have a sit down with yourself, maybe therapy, maybe just like an honest conversation with people outside your bubble, right? But you need to have a bit of a come to Jesus moment. You need to be like, oh, maybe something has led me astray. Maybe I'm going down a bad path. Which, hey, all right, it's a lot of us. Everybody at some point or another has started going down a path they didn't want to go down, started becoming a person they didn't want to be, right? That's fine. There's always time to change, all right? There's still time, God damn it. Yeah, and for those of you who put recommended reviews as a joke, stop, please. Please stop. It's not that funny. It's really not that funny.
Once again, I cannot emphasize, there's just going to be more of it the more you engage with it, all right? And now we're culpable. We're culpable, and I can only hope that this turns people away more than it encourages them to hate watch. It's
yeah, hey, tell you what,
watch
some YouTube essays or reviews on the series. You'll get the vibe.
Yeah.
I think, God, who is it? I think it was Mother's Basement had a whole hour-and-a-half breakdown on everything wrong with the series, and the fact that man went through that much of the manga just to tear it to absolute shreds.
Because once again, it's not just that it's degenerate and toxic and wildly problematic. It's also very poorly constructed, all right?
Yes.
It's not just oh, wow, I have issues with how it presents things. It is also a poorly told bad story.
Yeah, God, if everybody in the show was irredeemable, horrible people and it was presented in a way as such, then maybe it would have had a chance, but...
Yeah.
Ooh, buddy, it does it not. Yeah, no. And the hilarious thing is a lot of these positive reviews, Rem, most of them are 4 out of 12 episodes watched. So they watched as much as you did the first time around. We're like, yeah, this is a pretty good show.
Somehow, that is when it's strongest, which is insane.
Especially since you blocked most of it out of your memory.
Yeah, it has a stronger first half than a second half, and it did not have a strong first half.
No. Oh my God. Well, Rem, hey, what have we learned today?
That you are the great deceiver.
I am nothing of the sort. If anything, I am the nicest guy around because I gave you a thing that you didn't need, and you squandered
Remember
it.
what he took from you, ladies and gentlemen.
I took nothing. You couldn't resist the goblin in your brain that was but what if there's a chance?
And then it landed on Freeman the second time, and you took it away from everybody, from me, from yourself, from the people.
Rem, you are not girl bossing your way out of this one. It ain't happening. So the final question I need to ask you, Rem, and I think I have a sneaking suspicion I know what the answer is. Any chance you'd want to watch more of this show ever again?
I would prefer to just never watch anything again. I shall blind myself right here and now, all right?
You've seen the cruelties of the world and you must blind yourself so you shan't see anymore.
Oh, fucking hell.
That's okay, Rev, because I have no intention of returning to this, with the exception of, for some reason people think it would be the best kind of episode for us to make. I don't know how it could be, as I really don't, but hey, maybe season 2 and 3 have something more to offer. Oh, God, it really doesn't, though. It really doesn't. But with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Rem really basking in his own hubris, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is still not enough for you, twitch.tv/anime out of context, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/anime out of context, where I gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thanking this week?
Certainly not Sean.
Hey, I have no responsibility here.
As always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are toxic bitches in the best of ways. And on this list, we have... Alright, let me sort of decode this. What is... Award-winning... It might be cookies? It's very small. Number one gold medal cookies? Bunny squirt. It's related to Sean somehow. You know, I just don't know the details.
You know?
Yeah, I'm able to piece it together well enough. Yandere Neko, Wolfire 56. Why does everything want Banana Sean? Where's our TBC review, you ginger fuck? Wes Kane truly insisting he isn't here for Rem's boobs. Week 5 of using my Patreon name to request code Geese. Watch your Requiem for Spoonman at 0.5 speed. Variant, totally good. Titan CNH, the Susanator, the Pope. The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Roronoa Zoro as my navigator. That time I reincarnated as a podcast host and forced to weeb. That smile has no place in Fairy Tale's 100 Girlfriends. Turban, Tainted Venom, Super Zoo, Stacy's mom. Sean wants to give Spoonman a thank and yank. Sean owes Griffith a hat from stream, won't quit gooning until there's a hat on a hat, etc. Sean's little nut that could. Sean's heir apparent. Sean, back away from your sister and put down that toothbrush. Sean ruined my happy sugar life when he had lewd thoughts about Judy while receiving the Pope's anal baptism. Hashtag One Nut Rollins. Sean, quit soaking with my grandma, please. Sean, I messed up the Sean Shashan name last week because it was a Don reference. I don't get. Hashtag One Nut Rollins. Sean bones like a dog, but soaks like a frog. Sarah from the Shark plushie. Sean. Ryan Moody. Ross Palmer. Rhiannon Williams. Rem's titty milk probably tastes like mint chip. Remington is right. Rem used the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem ties my mommy milkers into balloon animals. Rem say haiku about Sean soaking in Judy. You know, I'm not gonna do that because it would reveal too much of his private life.
Okay, listen here, you.
I respect his privacy with Judy. It's for him to write about, not me. All right. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Red Venom, Raptor King, Professor Fox. Pro tips out of context, I won't Google soaking, but did you know, Sean, that the Heretical Bethel Church practices grave soaking? PJ Turtle. PJSK says, laugh like it's... Oh, I see. Look. Oh, without the spaces, I'm going to start reading the stage direction right off of the rip. All right. It all goes together.
Yeah, it's kind of hardwired at this point.
Yeah. Paco Musico. Oh, whoa, swope me, Swan Wallins daddy.
Hate that.
One of Sean's 10 Polly Bunny waifus. Miss Baggy Pants. Mitsuka is watching Ground Control to Psychoelectric Girl as she mutters, I'm way more psychoelectric than her. Mikeka 7 Hairto, Macaroni Uchiha, Lucky Stars the King of Moe, Link Joe Girl, Nerd98, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, Jax, Jam Hands, Jake Dent, implanting Sean's other nut in my own body so I can absorb his weed power. I'm making Rum say ethnic slurs until you bring back the Chevno Musco tier, Sean, you cave cricket. I will never get more Ace of the Diamond, now I cry. I did the jump pump for Rem and Sean soaking. I can't believe I made me count for this. Hey, Shawnee, Judy wants your one nut in the butt. Gordon Ramsay's raw sausage. Goo goo gaga, Mother Rem. I required sustenance. Glenn Michael Dolan, G Thing 72. Fern the Fern Fern. Farron 129. Farmer Weeb's Utah joke of the week. Why do Mormon women stop having kids at 38? Because 39 is just too many. Fantide, Erica McCorkle. Degloving Sean's banana organ for cucking us. Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
Oh, I mean, if you're angry at him last week, then you'll be extra angry this week. 2 weeks in a row, he has taken it from you. All right,
I've done nothing of the sort. I have done nothing of the sort.
Daddy Rum, tell me a bedtime story about Sean's nut. I think I said Daniel right, but just in case. Caldarius, Cheese Monkey, Cat Girls are best girls, so give me them cute little paws. Butler Rat pushed his body way too far. Pushing a 900-kilogram tractor for 1 kilometer through mud uphill might not be good for the body. Rock hard for you dudes. Shadow the Hedgehog's a bitch-ass motherfucker. Boring Siren. Blarf. Blackout drunk before butt stuff, says Miska. Bento Kato. And every day that Raven comes to visit, says Miska. Amazing Muffin. Aisha Gudgy. Moe piece of trash. 100 Girlfriends is just the Brigham Young story. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. Sean, what are they going to get this week?
Oh, God. The first thing that pops in my head is something we can't do, just, for ethical reasons. But the first thing that popped in my head was recommending therapists. Let me just... famous... I think I could get away with, prominent psychiatrists? Nah.
You could certainly try.
I don't know if there's enough, is the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Better idea. This week they're going to get a self-help book.
Okay, perfect. That we here at Anime Out of Context, we endorse every single one.
Okay, no, let's not go that far.
Every single one has insights that have personally helped Sean Rollins.
Christ almighty. Oh boy.
On this list, we have Umbrasight.
Man, some of these suck. But alright, they'll get Atomic Habits.
Truckcoon Operator number 42.
The Subtle Arts of Not Giving a Fuck.
Titaro gives up on wooing Sean, for Titaro will never be Judy.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That Mouse Girl.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Thanks to Super Soaker Sean, my sister and I have never been closer. Hashtag don't fuck your sister.
The Power of Habit.
Spoonman the Aristocrat.
This looks like a cult book, but alright. The 4 Agreements.
Oh, God. Yeah, Silent Secondary.
The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up.
Chilling time for Bang Dream. It's my go and Avi Mujica, says Miska, as Miska nods in agreement.
The Power of Now.
Scourge has Miska and an IRL girlfriend now.
You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life.
Sammy K is all caught up after remembering she's a patron.
The Gifts of Imperfection.
Roscop.
Quiet.
Power Cell begs Sean to stop soaking in his low putty. He still has a couple gym badges he needs to earn.
Deep Work.
Pokemon Conquest is the best obscure game.
Daring Greatly.
Nurikaza, hashtag SONR, soaking one nut Rollins.
Thinking Fast and Slow.
Monogatari is everything you ever said you want in an anime. This week the MC has one bad character trait, but he knows.
The Body Keeps the Score. I don't know what the fuck that means. That sounds dark.
A lot of these, I wouldn't necessarily define as self-help.
Oh, hey, that's the category, unfortunately.
One of the very unfortunate things is that, in bookstores, the psychology section and the self-help section have just sort of merged into one. So you never know whether it's, rigorous and meaningful or just random bullshit, because it's all next to each other.
Yeah, and considering what the next one on this list is, I'm definitely calling out bullshit on most of these.
Mitsuka wants to know why you played Harikage. Why? Yells Mitsuka as she scolds Rem.
The 5 love languages.
Mitsuka still wants to know why you played that song. Why did you play Harikage?
12 Rules for Life.
Oh, God. Mitsuka's a regulation listener that used to listen to Face Jam, but now listens to 100% Eat, says Mitsuka.
Man's Search for Meaning.
Mike.
The Mountain is You.
Miguel DeLeon.
Who Moved My Cheese?
I'd like to start a petition to replace the word brat with kudere.
The Secret?
It's March, time for Bang Dream, it's my go and Avi Muchika, says Mitsuka, who's playing Harikage.
The Courage to Be Disliked.
I thought Ocean's Motion was best, Sean showed me.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Hidden Otaku.
Think and Grow Rich.
Crimson Reapers, just because of the sides.
The Let Them Theory.
Captain Beagleboy wants One Piece on episode 400.
The Psychology of Money?
Carver 271.
Life in 3 Dimensions.
Beethoven 1201.
Read Yourself Happy?
Back on that Monogatari grind.
Gentle.
Allfather likes playing with his deck with his boyfriend.
Don't Believe Everything You Think.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Sean will tell you about a specific patch of your life that you went through where you were a bit of a shitty person, and it's going to be niche and specific, and I will tell you how you fixed that problem, or how you should fix it. On that list we got, Sean, I need you to floss my vagina teeth with your tongue. Jesus Christ.
The fact that vagina dentata is in my vocabulary is... I hate that fact. I wish I could unlearn that fact, but I once I learned about it, it never left. But hey, okay. The rough part of your life was when you were in junior high school and you were just figuring out that it was not appropriate to walk up and just slap people on the back of the head,
And how this got fixed actually was yeah, but just sort of debate with yourself whether hey, in for a penny, in for a pound. What fixed that is when you went to Nam and lost both your hands.
Oh my Christ.
Ta-da! Look, some are easy fixes, some are difficult fixes. Rem trade-off, I get Sean's hand in marriage, you get an early retirement, it's I replace you as host of the podcast.
Let's see, your hyper-specific rough time was, the time where you teamed up with the student council president to falsely accuse the delinquents in your school of doing heinous things so that they would get suspended and removed to clean up the school.
After this academic McCarthyism that you had created and manufactured, fortunately, just like in real life, it went away and there were no long-term ramifications whatsoever. And last but not least, we have Follow Anime Out of Context on Blue Sky. Subscribe to Remington Chase on Patreon. Hey, I do have one, and I released a new video on my YouTube recently. For anybody who's like listening deep into the Patreon reads, it's just chilling for the deepest people. Make him review horror anime, Ubauk. And on the Blue Sky, there's a daily Judy Hopps image with accusatory things towards Sean. And there's also, in reference to last week's episode, and you can reuse it, talking about Sean's wheel of Sean's favorite harem anime. So, he just spun that again this week for us.
That I do not have such a wheel, and this would not have been on that wheel.
So what did they get? What did they go through?
In high school, right before graduation, they went through a period of just, occasionally walking by open lockers, taking a single item out, and then putting it in a separate open locker.
And what happened is you got trapped in a locker one day, so you couldn't do it anymore, and you're still there. You're still there.
You get great reception, though.
You get great reception. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, then you can send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister. Rem, I've seen pornography. I'm in the market of clapping gorilla cheeks.
Even if you believe in you, I don't believe in you.
You can't resist the depth of my pussy.